All right, guys. Well, this is the Neighborhood Ventures podcast.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Love it.
I'm Lexi. I'm going to be moderating for you guys today. And I'm here with Bart and Heidi.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and get into some of these articles that we have in front of us. So we were just kind of talking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I read all three of them. Did you guys read all three of them?
I was
Took a
never
gander.
the best student in school, so I read the headlines
Okay.
and the quick summaries.
But you know what? That's great because with the headlines, you can already tell what's going on in these articles, which the first one we're going to talk about is that Dutch Bros is moving their headquarters right here to Arizona. Tempe, Arizona. They're bringing it to a little place called Liberty Center. It's like a little kind of like a workshop area down there in Tempe.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this?
You want to go?
Man, Tempe, for Dutch Bros, kind of the vibe. The whole vibe of
Oh,
Dutch
yeah.
Bros really sits like hand in hand with me with like ASU people. I mean, like just kind
Yeah.
of super social, super bubbly, super out there. Like it makes so much sense that you'd want to move it to kind of these like southern area, but
Yeah.
really like Arizona specifically.
I remember when I was in high school, my first time actually going to Dutch Bros was in Tempe, and my sister, who was in college at the time, was like, let's go to Dutch Bros. I'd never heard of Dutch Bros, and we showed up at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was packed. I was like, this is a coffee shop? That coffee was for the morning. So
It's like a high school speakeasy bar,
Yeah.
but it's just selling you coffee.
I think since then it's changed where it's not open as late.
It's
maybe.
open pretty late.
So maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, no. To Heidi's point, it definitely fits the Tempe culture. But I also think like really the headline here is Dutch Bros is just another major company moving to Phoenix, Arizona. We've had in the past year Dutch Bros, Comtech, Benchmark Electrics, TSMC has the giant plant on north side of Phoenix, Intel, Amcor, and there's so many other ones. And there's
Well, this is a huge deal
Yeah.
for us in Phoenix because A, they're bringing more jobs, they're bringing more people, more commerce here. In fact, it said the move from Oregon to Tempe was $24 to $31 million. I mean, is that normal for a large company when they move their headquarters? Do you guys know? Is that something that?
I think that's even small. Like for a lot of big
Yeah.
companies, that's like not unheard of at all.
I mean, you look at like just, I'm using TSMC, that's like the grand scale, but their investment in Arizona and infrastructure here is over 160 billion.
Yeah,
So it's, when you were talking about 31 million versus 160 billion, it's like,
Yeah, that's
but
a
it all
fraction.
matters. It all comes
Oh,
together.
yeah.
It matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I find really interesting is they're moving. Part of the reason they're moving from Oregon to Arizona is they want to expand locations in these southern states. They're going to Florida to do some more locations, and as well as Texas. They opened 30 new stores in Q1 of this year, and they're set to do another 160 for the year. But a lot of migration from these northern states down to these southern areas, and when you think about kind of the southern U.S., specifically where you want to go for a job market, Arizona is such a perfect hotspot. Like,
Yeah.
it's got the growth you want. It's got decent pricing for what you're looking for. It's such kind of, it checks all the boxes that you're looking for when you want to migrate your business here.
Yeah, my 4 notes I made is in Arizona, you have access to a skilled workforce now and in the future. So you have great universities like ASU, GCU, U of A, and they usually have job training programs within these universities that get you set up for
sure.
working at corporate Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
The second one is Arizona comparatively has lower operating costs. So you have significantly cheaper wages here than, let's say, our neighbor California. And we love California. Also, the climate here, there's no natural disasters. It's sunny 95% of the year. And then the last one, to Heidi's point, Phoenix has a growing population.
For sure.
Yeah.
People are moving to Phoenix, so there's going to be jobs for them.
Yeah.
Well, people are moving here even because of this. I mean, in the
Yeah.
article, it said 40% of staff are moving here to Phoenix. So what does this mean for people who are renting, people who are looking for rental opportunities in the Phoenix real estate market?
I think we're going to see it hit on all levels. I mean, from top to bottom of the different staffing at like a headquarters. You're going to have your CEO, CFOs, directors, vice presidents. Those are going to be affecting our single family home market, which I had a conversation last night with somebody. You've got a lot of people here who have short-term rental homes that are looking to sell. They're kind of the only ones selling right now. This will be great. This will open up some of the buyers so that we can kind of shift and start seeing some transactions. But then you're going to see your lower level, your associates and analysts, intern level employees. That's really what's going to hit our multifamily market, and that's going to be a great impact for us.
Yeah, definitely. Bart?
No, I think we touched on it quite a bit in the other articles. Just talking about supply and demand, and to Heidi's point, you have all these folks moving here, and you have all these units that have been on the market for the past few years that are going to be filled up by all the in-migration to Arizona.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the other articles then, because that kind of leads us directly into them. So the second one that we were going to chat about is Phoenix multifamily construction slows as demand outpaces supply. So this one used a lot of words that I was like, wait, I don't understand. Absorption, things that I was like, I don't understand what this means. Break it down for me. Why is this news?
So let's just, we'll dial it back. Absorption basically means when a renter moves into a unit, simply put. So if absorption is outpacing supply, that means, or deliveries coming out of the market, that means there's all these new deliveries, of brand new apartments coming on the market, and they've been filled completely with new renters. So that's absorption in a nutshell. Do you have anything?
No, I think that's exactly it. It's like a paper towel just absorbing everything up.
I think you can do like the classic econ lemonade stand example for this, but we'll do it in apartments. So if you have 10 open units and 3 renters, those units are competing for those 3 renters. So they're going to say, hey, we got to do concessions. We got to keep the prices low.
Right.
So for the past 2 years, us as operators, rents have been completely flat.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to raise rents. Now what this article is telling us is that there's only 3 apartments, but there's 10 renters. So prices are way more competitive for these 3 units, and we expect rents to go up because of that.
Gotcha. Okay, so in the past couple of years, the past 2 years or so, rents have basically stagnated.
Yep.
They've been where they are. They're not moving. Because of this new turn, we're going to start to see rents going up, and that is good and bad. But talk a little bit about why that's good for Phoenix just as a whole.
Phoenix economically, this is a really good benefit for landowners, for our investors. This is a great thing because it means we can bring rents up, and we've had, it's kind of finding the balance of that equilibrium. It's been offset because we've had so much supply. It's great news for us because it's situations like we've talked about with the in-migration plus no additional apartments coming to the market, but we've seen such stagnant growth in rental income, which means the economy as a whole is a little bit more stagnant. We need things to start balancing out, and this will help bring that balance of what people are paying for a mortgage versus what they're paying to rent needs to come back in line.
Gotcha.
I think one of the data points we've talked on previous podcasts, and it may have changed, so don't quote me on this, even though I'm saying a quote right now, but the cost of owning a home is 50% higher nationally in the U.S. And I think in Phoenix or in Arizona, it's like 100% higher than it is to rent. Again, those numbers might not be right.
But relatively.
Relatively. But typically, renting and the cost of owning a home run in parity with each other.
Sure.
So this giant gap we're seeing now, it's time that rents go up. They've been flat. I think renters get that. If you've been living somewhere, you know that your rents have been, $1,000, $1,000. You're going to start seeing upticks.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was 2020, 2021, we were seeing stuff skyrocket.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a small increase. Things were double and tripling. And now, like you were saying, they've kind of plateaued a little bit. And now we're going to see it. Is it going to make those big jumps again, doubles, triples, or is it going to be kind of a slow increase?
I'd say gradual.
Yeah, I think it's
going to be a small gradual. Renewals come up. You'll see maybe a 5 to 7% rent increase. It shouldn't be too bad.
I also think it's important to note what you just said. You said in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
So we had all this demand even back then of people moving to Arizona and needing to fill units. So these plans for new construction, they're finally being completed now. So that was back then, like, oh, we have a lot of people moving to Arizona. We have to build in order to house these people. So over the past five years, we've been building, and now we're at this cliff where it drops off. We have no plans to build anymore, but demand is remaining constant. So it is possible where you'll see some jumps in rents, but I do think, to Heidi's point, will be slow and gradual.
I think the one thing you will notice, and I've already started to see it as we look at different multifamily apartments, is you're not seeing the concessions that you've been seeing for the last year. People have been getting 1 month, 2 month, 90 days off rent. Those are the first things that we're seeing start to go away, and I think that's kind of the big incentive. That's going to be the first signs that we're seeing for the rent growth.
So it's almost not even the price itself. It's almost more so the concessions of things that...
Concessions first, and then I think we'll also see at renewals, people will have to come up a little bit in rent.
Gotcha. So let's talk about how Neighborhood Ventures can take advantage of this. How do these new, increases of renters, how does this benefit Neighborhood Ventures? Does it?
Yeah. We have 15,000 investors on our platform, over 3,000 active investors. And when rents go up, that means more, operating income to the property. And with the operating income, we can pay out distributions. So with more cash coming in, we can pay that out to our investors. And then in addition to that, the value of the property is tied to rents. So we want to be able to sell at a strike price, and we need rents to go up in order for us to get to that strike price and sell the property, and then pay our investors the return that we want to give them.
So this is great news then.
Yeah.
All right. I love this. This is good news. Well, then let's move on to the next thing, because this also kind of ties in here, which is millionaire renters are on the rise in Phoenix. This is a huge deal. And I think this is also the same kind of trend across the country, but particularly here in Phoenix, there are more millionaires who are renting rather than owning. What's the deal? That's a huge deal.
I think it's kind of what we were talking about earlier, a lot of it being the buying market right now doesn't make sense, where you could go rent, top level apartment, luxury apartments, where if you were to try to go buy it right now with interest rates, with the market and its current conditions, you're not going to. You can rent it for a year, see if you like it, dabble into a new area, new city, and then if you don't, you can always move out. But people love Phoenix, and having a place here for a year is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And I think the two, there's two things for me. It has to do with flexibility. So it's flexibility to move without the liability of owning a home. So when you're renting, you can pick up your stuff and go to the next spot.
Right.
And then also flexibility with your cash. When you're not spending, double the price on a monthly mortgage, you have more money to go on vacation, to invest into other things. So those are really the two things for me as to why I think millionaires aren't owning homes that they're renting.
Do you think this is more, because this is for high net worth individuals, this is for people who are in the luxury space, do you think this is more of a lifestyle change or more of an economic shift?
Probably both. They look at real estate as investments as a whole, and right now it's not a good time to necessarily invest in luxury real estate. This isn't the market to do it. So it's probably a balance of both, but I think a lot of people and a lot of luxury buyers, they enjoy being able to rent their fun, and so they're renting their fun here in Phoenix.
It's also we want to talk about the type of apartments they're moving into. You have a Whole Foods in it. You have a gym, sauna, steam room.
The amenities that come with these now are out of this world,
and zero liabilities to take care of any of it.
Yes,
do it.
I've seen apartments you get free access to our private golf course. Come on, why don't I for $2,000 or not for $4,000 a month? That's
even still the prices that we're seeing here for luxury apartments compared to places, other big cities, New York, California, they're still way more affordable than those other big cities, and you still get to feel like you live in a big city, because you do. We're the fifth largest, so you still have that big city lifestyle. You get all these amazing amenities. It's a win-win pretty much for everybody.
Yep.